Hello, I'm Rebecca N.D. Lichtenberg, Studio Theater's Managing Director, and I am thrilled to be on site at Studio to break ground on our first renovation project in over 15 years. We announced the Open Studio project publicly in February of 2020, expecting to break ground last summer. We had to put construction on hold along with everything else in the world, but we are now ready to move it forward so that we can welcome audiences back to a newly renovated building in late 2021. Over 40 years ago, Studio started with one stage in a former hot dog cart warehouse. Then we expanded into an auto showroom to create our 4-stage home. And the building has continued to evolve ever since, along with a vibrant 14th Street corridor. This renovation will lay the foundation for the next phase in Studio's history, one in which we open our doors to the community, commit to artistic flexibility and innovation, and invest in long-term sustainability. Our goal with Open Studio is to create welcome and dynamic public gathering spaces to invite the community in. Starting with the outside of the building, we will update the facade, including new signage, graphics, and a bright yellow paint treatment that you won't be able to miss when looking for the theater's doors. We're relocating the box office to face 14th Street, so when you enter, there's someone to welcome and help direct you. Behind me, we'll open up a new lounge area where you can enjoy a glass of wine or cup of coffee or bring your laptop just to hang out. Speaking of coffee, we're also very excited to be partnering with Rayco Coffee Roasters, who are a specialty coffee collective focused on sustainably sourced single origin coffees, otherwise known as coffee makers for people who really love coffee. They will be opening up a cafe in the Mead lobby, accompanied by a 60-person outdoor patio on the corner of 14th and P Streets. So now there will be even more reason to come to Studio at all times of the day. We're also investing in the sustainability of our building by upgrading our infrastructure with a new and more efficient HVAC system, a new roof, low-flow fixtures, all of which will help lessen our environmental footprint, decrease utilities, and optimize our efficiency. Now I'm going to let David talk about the centerpiece of the project, what it will mean for the art on our stages.
I'm David Muse, Artistic Director of Studio. I'm going to talk about the most transformational aspect of Open Studio from an artistic point of view. Put simply, we're going to totally remake our largest first-floor theater. Right now, it's a fixed-seat thrust venue, like our other major theaters. We're going to tear those seats out, flatten the floor, install new state-of-the-art theater technology, and leave a beautiful, raw, open room. It will be a room we can configure more or less any way we please. With a series of flexible seating risers, we can set it up in all sorts of ways. Proscenium, alley style, thrust, in the round. Or we can dispense with the chairs and risers entirely and create immersive, whole room theater environments. For those who have had the chance to see some of the ways that we've transformed Stage 4 over the last decade, you've had a sneak peek of what we'll be able to do. But now, we'll be able to do it in our marquee space, and we'll move that sense of adventure from the fringes of our organization into its beating heart. This new theater and the flexibility it brings will allow us to produce plays that our previous theaters would have struggled to do justice to, and it will offer artists who work here altogether new ways to approach or reinvent any play we choose to produce in it. I'm beyond excited to start figuring out what we're going to produce in our new theater during the coming years, and to bring our audiences along for what I imagine will be a wild ride indeed. So, let's get this party started. Here are Board Chair Amy Weinberg and Board Chair Emeritus Susan Butler to lead us up to a pivotal moment in this process, the actual commencement of work on our building.
Hello, I'm Amy Weinberg, and I'm here with Susan Butler. We're co-chairs of the Open Studio Committee. I want to tell you how thrilled I am to be here today, and a little surprised. Surprised because we made it in the middle of a pandemic, and thrilled for so many reasons. First, instead of explaining why we needed to take a break, why we couldn't get started, and talking a lot about the woes of a pandemic, you just heard about the great and innovative theater that you will get to experience when you come back. We can look to the future. I probably shouldn't have been surprised, though, for a lot of reasons. Studio has a history of thriving in unlikely circumstances. Our founders chose an unlikely neighborhood that embraced us and helped us get this great theater started. So thank you to all our neighbors for welcoming us. We've also had an amazing group of people who worked with inspiring enthusiasm and provided us with the support we needed to move forward. We could not have done this without the steering and open studio committees and the efforts of our amazing board, who stepped up time and time again above and beyond the call of duty. More about them later. When my husband and I first came to the area in our 30s, we looked for institutions that would make the city our home. We were thrilled when we found the studio. Like most young people, though, we appreciated the artists and crew, as is right. They are the heart and soul of this place. But I guess I actually did think that buildings sprang up on their own and renovations happened overnight. I'm a little older now, just a little, and I know that's not true. I'm so happy to be part of paying it forward, of helping to build a space full of new possibilities for our loyal audiences and for those in our future, where we can welcome people to the best of theater for years to come. As I said, I'm new to this game, but now I'm going to turn you over to Susan, who's been leading these efforts with grace and grit for so many years. Susan, can you share a little history, and then maybe we can surprise them?
Thanks, Amy. Working with you has been a dream come true for someone like me who's involved in her third major studio capital campaign. Yes, 3. I've seen studio grow and transform because of these major renovations. When the theater moved into the corner building at 14th and P, it didn't own its space, which at that time was the first floor theater and the third floor. Soon we bought the building and added a second theater. Next, we combined the 3 buildings we now occupy, adding a beautiful atrium, a third major theater, and a flexible performance space on the 4th floor. And now we're revamping our 2-story theater, just as David told you, to be a major flexible space and the centerpiece of our artistic programming. In all 3 cases, these transformational changes enhanced studio's artistic vision and made it more resilient. Now, as we begin this project, I have a great announcement to make. We are renaming the soon-to-be renovated theater in honor of Victor Shargai. Victor's relationship with studio goes back to the very beginning as one of the first board members. As a matter of fact, it's because of Victor that DC is blessed with so many creative theaters. He was affectionately known as Mr. DC Theater as he led Theater Washington and gave great counsel to many artistic directors, board members, artists, and the Share Fund. Those of you who know the space as the Metheny Theatre, named for set designer Russell Metheny, one of studio's founders, we will now be naming our scene shop to honor Russell's contributions. We are so honored that Victor's widower, Craig Pascal, agreed to have this very special memorial to Victor at studio. And we also wish to thank Craig's wonderful friend, Elvie Moore, for all the good counsel she has given to the Open Studio campaign. So now let's meet the crew that's going to do the real work.
Thanks, Susan. I want to introduce our partners who we've been working with for several years to get to this exciting point. Our owners reps from JM Zell, our architects from Hickok Cole, and our contractors, Forrester Construction. And now it's time to start demolition. Amy and Susan, take it away.
Thank you so much to the leadership of Studio, the board, and Susan and Dixon Butler, and many other supporters for this fabulous honor to my late and great husband, Victor Shargai. This would be so meaningful to him. Studio had such an important role in Victor's life. through his leadership at Studio, he learned that theaters could be a catalyst for economic development and revitalization of community. And he talked about that for years, whether testifying before the City Council for more arts funding or supporting another theater in another community help revitalize that community. And now Studio is doing this major renovation, and it's going to be a catalyst to be a bigger anchor in this wonderful Logan Circle community. And having his name in this lobby is so meaningful to me and to many others. He just loves spending time in this lobby on opening nights. He was an actor before he came to Washington, and I always felt in the time I was with him that he was on stage in this lobby talking to his friends before the show, and then after the show talking about the wonderful performance or something like the lighting or the direction. He was always so pleased to be here in this lobby, so it will be so meaningful to have his name in the lobby. And finally, I just looking forward to seeing so many people at opening nights and shows at Studio Theater. We've all been sheltering in place, and it's just going to be so great to be outside and in the theater. The theater plays such an important role, and Studio has always been so thoughtful in their productions. So, you know, when we have to deal with issues of racial divide, economic divide, and political divide, I know that Studio is going to have the most thoughtful productions post-pandemic. So I'll see you there. Thank you so much again to Studio.
Hello, I am Bianca Beckham, Studio's Director of Development, and I too am excited to be at the theater standing here in what will soon be our new box office, as I'm sure you'd recognize the traffic sounds on 14th Street. But it is my pleasure to recognize some of the many dedicated supporters who are making this all possible. To date, we have raised over $15 million. First, to our major supporters who banded together in their efforts to rename the Metheny in honor of Victor Shargai. Studio would like to thank Susan and Dixon Butler, Norbert Hornstein and Amy Weinberg, Sari Hornstein, and the Share Fund. A successful capital campaign is never complete without its campaign pillars. Donors rising to the call to give the kind of significant support required to bring about such transformational change. Open Studio's pillars include Mark Albert and Stephen Cheetah, the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, Events DC, Arlene and Robert Kogod, Albert Lauber and Craig Hoffman, the Morris and Gwendolyn Cafritz Foundation, and Teresa and Dan Schwartz. And last but surely not least, we thank the Studio Board of Directors, the Open Studio Steering Committee, and our staff for the diligent, hard work they put into this project's successful launch. For all that they have done and will continue to do in support of this project, we offer them our gratitude. And with all that has been achieved, there is still more work to do. There remain opportunities to participate in Open Studio and make a mark on our theater's legacy. In the coming months, if you are able, we hope you will join the many who have stepped forward with an investment in this new visioning for our theater. When we finally reopen our doors to this treasured space, you will find new ways of engaging with our art, being in community with one another, and enjoying your artistic home. Thank you for tuning in. We can't wait to see you on 14th and P.